Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno's Best Comics of the Week, and this is the show where I review all the comics I've read this week in one show, and we go least favorite to best pick of the week and everything in between. And of course, at the end of the video, we talk about the viewer's pick of the week for your chance for one of your comments to be featured on the episode. Now, let's jump in. I had a pretty average size haul this week with 12 books, and number 12 was Captain Marvel issue 36, I believe we're up to. I believe this is the last part of the last of the Marvels. And honestly, I haven't really been able to get into this arc. I was expecting a lot more. We had kind of the return of Captain Marvel. We had Miss Marvel. We had all these characters that I thought would be really an interesting character moments and character-driven story, and I feel like it was a little bit more too action driven here, and yeah, honestly just couldn't really get into the plot. There's a new character introduced, Binary, which is the binary form of Captain Marvel, who's also become her own character, so I wasn't as invested with her character, and I feel like that was kind of the big moment in this issue, and it didn't really do much for me, even though I do think there are some small character interactions I enjoyed, like Iron Man and Captain Marvel chit-chatting, but the artwork is pretty solid for the book, but overall, a little disappointed with the overall story. So giving that 2 stars, and that is number 12. Moving on to number 11, which is Black Widow, issue 14. A book I'm sad to see this low. Again, I think it's an arc thing as well. I'm not as invested in the supporting characters for this one, the newer supporting characters, but I love the action. I think the action is drop dead gorgeous for this one. It does continue the villain story from that last issue, where we had literally a whole backstory about him, so now we're actually seeing that come to fruition. There's a pretty big cliffhanger with Black Widow possibly losing her arm. At first, with the way the art style was, I'm like, wait, what actually happened? Because you had this red slash. I couldn't really see the arm there. But I was like, oh, that's an interesting cliffhanger. Will she have a robotic arm? You know, kind of like Winter Soldier. So I thought that was an interesting cliffhanger, and there's some good action in this issue visually, but story-wise, I thought the plot wasn't as strong. So overall, giving that 2.5 stars, and that's number 11. Moving on to number 10, which is Dark Ages, issue 5. I got the Peach Momoko cover here, and yeah, with this issue, I like the, again, smaller character moments here. I love seeing Laura and Gabby. It's, you know, Tom Taylor writing these characters again was a pleasure. And I liked seeing, you know, May, you know, Peter's daughter in this one. I love seeing an older Miles Morales at the end. I thought that was a good cliffhanger. But the plot itself has been meandering a little bit for me. And I thought there was a lot of slow parts here. And the character moments just didn't hit home as much as I wanted them to, like we usually see in a Tom Taylor book that is more character driven. Artwork is pretty good. It's your standard kind of event style art style here. So giving that 2.5 stars, and that is number 10. Moving on to a book I was really anticipating, and that is Supermassive issue 1. I am sad to see it a little lower, but I think this kind of had to do with it coming out too soon, this book. So I'm so excited for Rogue Sun. I'm very excited to read let me figure out the character's name. I think it's, let's see, Inferno Girl Red. There's just a lot of colors here, which I actually backed up through the Kickstarter. So I'm excited to read all these characters and learn about them. But because they were introduced here, it felt like it was way too super massive. It was too many things going on where I'm like, wait, who's Rogue Sun? Wait, who's this character? Now they're all friends? Okay, interesting. Which I seriously mean, it was interesting, and I like seeing their interactions, and I enjoyed the chemistry between the characters, but I just wanted to slow it down and be like, okay, well, who are you? Before I can fall in love with your friendship, I kind of want to fall in love with you as a character first, and you know, I think it's a good introduction to show that there's a bigger superhero story here. They're even introducing another new character, but it just kind of happened all too quickly for me, and I just wish that we got a couple of issues of Rogue Sun, a couple of issues, or the graphic novel out for Inferno Girl, and then got something like this once we got to know the characters a bit. But there is some good action here. There's a really cool gatefold, fold out, where you actually get to see them like transform into their like Power Ranger style heroes. So that was really cool. And I did like the chemistry between the characters. I was just a little disappointed with how rushed it felt. So overall, giving that 3 stars, and that is number 9. Moving on to number 8, which is Silk issue 2. I thought this was a slight improvement from the last issue where we get to see some good slice of life moments. I like that it's just Cindy trying to find herself and trying to find a hobby. Like that's stuff I enjoyed the most. I liked her superhero friend, which I didn't really know her, so I was like, oh, did I miss maybe a series where they were introduced? I didn't know the character. So that felt a little less new reader friendly. The superhero stuff is honestly the stuff I think needs to work. I feel like that's not as interesting as Silk's in Cindy's life. So I'm hoping we rev up the plot a little bit more. But overall, I thought it was a decent read, and I enjoyed the Cindy stuff, and I enjoy the slice of life aesthetic. I do love the art style for this. I think it fits very well for Cindy. So giving that 3 stars, and that is number 8. Moving on to number 7, which is Aquaman issue 1, and I've been enjoying the Jackson Hyde stuff. I really liked that mini-series, and something I enjoyed about this book in particular is that it really connects all the stories that have been going on, and gives reference enough for new readers, where, if you've been reading Black Manta, that's important. If you've been reading Aquaman The Becoming, that's important. And telling a new story along the way that is very balanced between the life on the land and in the water. And I like that. I think those are always the best Aquaman stories. The artwork is so good and so crisp for this one. I think it introduced the plot pretty well. I'm still a little confused of what's going on with the people being taken over, and I'm guessing that's the point. You're supposed to be a little confused for it, and that's the mystery of it all. But yeah, I like the character interactions, and there's a good cliffhanger where we see Black Manta is going to be teaming up with Jackson and Arthur. So that's going to be cool. I feel like, okay, we got some good character moments here. You got an introduction of good plot. So overall, I'm going to give that 3.5 stars. I had a pretty good time with it, and it's nice to have something that's not Batman feel a bit more connected to each other. So that's number 7. Moving on to number 6, which is the Amazing Spider-Man issue 90. This one I feel like is more leading up to the ending. That was interesting. I did like last issue a little bit more when it came to character beats, because this one had a little bit to do about the Beyond stuff. But I love the lead up to it. I like that, Ben realizes that something's wrong with him, and he sees that through his girlfriend. And then by the end, Spider-Man, Peter and Ben, they end up teaming up. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of where we wanted to see them lead up to, and I think their interactions are going to be interesting because they've been separated this whole entire time. So what type of story are we going to get with them and Queen Goblin in particular? I like Mark Bagley's artwork. I do think there's times where some of the art felt a little crowded here, but I like the story and I liked where it led up to. I just think that last issue was a little bit stronger for me. So giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 6. Moving on to number 5, which is Rockstar and Softboy issue 1. This is actually a one-shot from Image Comics, and it's Cena Grace. And, I was looking forward to it. I feel like there's not enough slice-of-life comics out there, and this felt slice-of-life comedy. I was like, let me give it a shot. And I liked how personal this story was. It's Cena and his friend, and kind of reflecting on their lives. And I liked how nerdy it was. I liked how gay it was. And it was just a fun book, and sometimes that's all you need. You just need one beginning, middle, and end story where you're like, that was fun. It was cool to kind of see this friendship and see again a personal story from the creator, and you could definitely see just how much love was in this book. So yeah, I just had a good time with it. So I'm gonna give that 3.5 stars, and that is number 5. Moving on to number 4, a little lower than last time it came out, but Saga issue 56. So this issue definitely, it slows things down a bit to introduce new characters, and I like the ending. We really get to rev up a bit where, Alana, I think is how you pronounce her name. She's in the mix of trying to get out of being a drug dealer and trying to protect her family, and the people that she's trying to trust is maybe not as trustworthy as she expected, especially because they don't like her kind. So that definitely becomes a big part of the end. We get a little bit from the robot prince people. I don't know what they're called. So we get a little bit of what's going on there. That wasn't as interesting as the main plot for me, but it's, again, slowed things down a bit. I think it was necessary, and there's definitely some interesting beats here, and the art is always great for it, but I liked the last issue a little bit more. I thought it was a little bit more well-rounded. So giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 4. All right, moving on to number 3, which is Miss Marvel Beyond the Limit, issue 3. And honestly, I just had a good time with this one. It is just Miss Marvel training this new hero who, in the end, seems like she's gonna betray Miss Marvel. I thought that happened very quickly. I was like, wait, what? When did this happen? But I really like the smaller moments where it's just about, this girl kind of taking over Kamala's life and the interactions between this hero, or this person, I would say, and her friends, I thought was interesting. Some of the connection to her powers was cool. And just, the more slice of life aspect. I just love how involved the friends were. I like that we got to see some of the family life, and then it still was a good mixture of superhero stuff. I think this could have been even higher if it wasn't for the abrupt ending of this issue. And the artwork, as always, I love this art style. It's the same artist that has done Runaways, and it's just so crisp and has done really great job with facial expressions. So giving that 3.5 stars, and that is number 3. All right, moving on to number 2, which is Robin issue 11. And I was a little worried about this issue because there was a lot of exposition in the last couple, and I'm like, do I really care about the Al Ghul family? And I still think that was the weaker part of this issue, but it was a good grand finale where we get to see Robin and friends help out and kind of see where this next chapter is going. Robin's going to return to Gotham, which I'm very excited about. It's all the heart of Alfred here. We learn why he reads the mangas. We get a little bit of romance between him and Flatline. We even get kind of the reveal of Respawn. Kind of, at least Ravager knows who Respawn is, and she's shocked, so maybe we'll be shocked. I feel like it's probably like a clone of Slade. That's my guess. That is my guess of who Respawn is. But yeah, no, I thought it was a well-rounded issue. There's some really good action here. There's some good character / plot development, and it got me excited to see what the next chapter is going to be as we get into the Shadow War as well. That's going to be coming up, I think, in a month or two, or maybe next month, honestly, as he returns to Gotham. So giving that 4 stars, and that is my number 2 pick. Moving on to number 1, which is Refrigerator Full of Heads, issue 4. And if you're a slasher fan, as I am, pick this book up. It is like the perfect sequel. I loved Basket Full of Heads. I just thought it was like, wow, this is a slasher from the silver screen put into a comic book, which is usually the reverse, right? Where you get to see comics kind of adapted into the silver screen. So I like seeing, it's like, whoa, I feel like I'm watching a movie while I read this book. And issue 4 is no exception. We get a new final girl. Especially in this issue, she becomes a final girl where her partner dies, and there's just like wall-to-wall action. But every single action sequence, it's not just like, oh, here's some action. It's inventive action. It's gritty and gruesome. And then you really, literally, you have intercuts between our new final girl and June, our past final girl, which I just thought was weaved in so perfectly to show that, yes, there is a bigger world of the Full of Heads universe, but it is still about this new girl as we progress this franchise, which every good slasher should do. The artwork, again, is just so much fun. The story is fun. If you are a slasher fan like I am, this is a must buy. So giving that 4 stars, and that is my pick of the week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. Let me know in the comments below what your pick of the week was, because we talk about the viewer's pick of the week. And from last week, that was, what is the farthest place from home? And here are some comments about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.